Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt it? No one said anything. No one did anything obvious. But your body knew. You felt the tension. You sensed the shift. You adjusted yourself before anyone even looked at you. And maybe you've wondered, why am I like this? Why do I notice everything? Why do I change depending on who I'm around? Why do I feel exhausted even when nothing bad is happening? Let me tell you something that might hit deeper than you expect. That's not random. That's not dramatic. That's not you being too sensitive. That's what happens when you grow up with a narcissistic parent. While other kids were having childhoods, you were in training camp, and today I'm going to walk you through 4 traits you probably carry right now. Traits that feel like curses. Traits that may have made you feel different, alien, like you're playing life on hard mode. But here's the twist. These aren't weaknesses. They're survival skills. And if you learn how to use them intentionally, instead of automatically, they can become your greatest strengths. By the end of this, you're going to understand yourself in a way you never have before. Let's start with the first one. 1. The mind reader. Picture this. You're 5 years old. You walk into the kitchen. Before anyone speaks, before anything obvious happens, you already know what kind of day it's going to be. Good day or bad day. How? Maybe it's the way the cabinets are closing. Maybe it's the silence. Maybe it's the way your parents' shoulders look slightly tighter than usual. You just know. You became a detective before you even knew what the word meant. Because in your house, missing the signs had consequences. If you didn't read the room correctly, you could get yelled at, ignored, blamed for something you didn't even do. So you adapted. You didn't just listen to words. You listened to breathing patterns, footsteps, tone shifts, micro-expressions. You learned to read energy. Now fast forward to today. You walk into a party, and within 5 minutes you've already mapped the entire emotional atmosphere. You know who's upset, who's faking a smile, who's about to start drama, who doesn't mean what they're saying. And while everyone else is casually enjoying themselves, your brain is scanning, constantly scanning. It's like having a smoke detector that goes off every time someone makes toast. Here's the truth. Most people move through life half asleep emotionally. You don't. You can spot manipulation. You can sense insincerity. You feel fake love before it even gets close. Why? Because you were manipulated by an expert, your own parent. So now regular liars? Easy. Emotional games? Obvious. Hidden agendas? Transparent. That hyper-awareness that exhausts you? It's also why people can't fool you anymore. That's not weakness. That's a gift, a painful gift, but a powerful one. 2. The shapeshifter. Let me ask you something real. Who are you when nobody's watching? If that question makes you pause, this might be your trait. When you grow up with a narcissistic parent, being yourself isn't always safe, so you learn to adjust. Around your parent, maybe you became quiet, perfect, small, invisible. You didn't cry too loudly. You didn't ask for too much. You didn't express inconvenient emotions. You became whatever kept the peace. At school, maybe you were funny. With friends, the listener. With strangers, confident and charming. You switched identities like changing clothes. And here's the wild part. You got so good at it that even you forgot which version was the real one. People say, oh yeah, I know you. But do they? Or do they know the version you calculated they'd like the most? That's exhausting. Because deep down there's this quiet question. If I stop performing, will anyone still stay? But here's the part you don't give yourself enough credit for. You can walk into any room and belong. Job interview? You adapt. First date? You adjust. New friend group? You blend in effortlessly. That's not fake. That's advanced emotional intelligence. Most people struggle to connect. You can connect with almost anyone. That's power. But the danger? If you're always adjusting to others, you might never feel solid inside yourself. So here's what you need to hear clearly. The real you is not too much. Not too emotional. Not too quiet. Not too intense. You were. Told that. You learned that. But it's not true. The right people don't want your performance. They want your authenticity. And the people who only like the mask, they were never your people to begin with. 3. The always-on machine. Let's talk about something most people overlook. When was the last time you truly rested? Without guilt? Not scrolling. Not productive relaxation. Not multitasking. I mean actual rest. If you grew up in survival mode, rest feels dangerous. Because as a child, mistakes weren't just mistakes. They were threats. Failure wasn't disappointing. It was unsafe. So you learned to push, to grind, to keep going even when exhausted. You became the reliable one, The strong one. The one who handles it. When things get chaotic, you don't panic. You've seen worse. While others freeze, you act. While others crumble, you solve. People admire you for it. They say you're so strong. But what they don't see is this. You're not always pushing because you want to. You're pushing because you don't know how to stop. Deep down, there's a fear. If I stop achieving, if I stop achieving, if I stop proving, if I slow down, will I still matter? Here's the truth that might feel uncomfortable. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to hustle for your worth. You don't have to be exceptional to deserve connection. Surviving made you strong, but living requires something different. It requires rest, joy, play, moments where you exist without proving anything. You've mastered survival. Now it's time to learn how to live. 4. The emotional vault. This one might be the heaviest. When you were sad, you were told you were overreacting. When you were angry, you were disrespectful. When you were excited, you were too much. So what did you do? You shut it down. You locked it away. You built an emotional vault inside yourself. Now, as an adult, something happens, and instead of feeling it fully, you analyze it. Someone hurts you, and you question whether it's your fault. Someone loves you, and you wait for them to leave. Something good happens, and you brace for disaster. Because growing up, good things had conditions. Love had strings attached. Praise came with expectations. Safety was temporary, so you stopped trusting good feelings. Here's the upside. In crisis, you're steady. When everyone else is spiraling, you're calm. You're the anchor. But here's the cost. Sometimes you feel numb, disconnected. Like you're watching your life instead of living it. So let me say this clearly. Your feelings are real. Even the messy ones. Even the loud ones. Even the confusing ones. You were not too much. You were raised by someone who couldn't handle their own emotions. That's not your fault. And it's not your job to shrink so others feel comfortable. The bigger truth, so here they are. The mind reader. The shapeshifter. The always-on machine. The emotional vault. These traits were built in survival. You didn't choose them. You needed them. But now? Now you get to choose how they serve you. You can keep scanning for danger in safe rooms, or you can learn when to turn the alarm off. You can keep performing for approval, or you can risk being real. You can keep grinding without rest, or you can discover who you are without pressure. You can keep locking emotions away, or you can slowly, safely let them out. You are not broken. You are someone who survived something difficult, and you came out with abilities most people will never understand. You read what others miss. You adapt where others freeze. You endure what would break many. That's strength, hard-earned strength. But strength doesn't mean you have to keep suffering. You survived. Now you get to live, and when someone tries to make you feel like you're too much or not enough, remember this: you already proved your worth. You did it by surviving what was meant to break you. And now it's time to thrive. It's time to become powerful on purpose. Not because you have to, but because you choose to. And that changes everything.